All right, in this video, I'm going to be replacing the rear upper control arms in my Nissan Pathfinder. It's a 2012, similar to a Frontier or an Xterra, I'm sure. And what I've done before I jacked it up and took the tire off is I marked the position of the normal ride height using a chalk stick. And that way I can get the vehicle back up to ride height once these are on. And I got these, they're Mevotech upper control arms, and they come with the ball joint. And there is the number for one of them, and there's the number for the other one. I was just going to do the ball joints, but I couldn't find anywhere that just sells the ball joint. This might be a better deal anyway, because it obviously comes with the bushings, it comes with the ball joint, it comes with the bolt and nut for the ball joint, and I went and got new nuts and bolts from Nissan. There's the nut from Nissan with the product number, and there is the bolt with the product number. And they are also known as the upper control arm pivot fasteners. I always just get new hardware now that this vehicle is so old with high mileage. I just find I break things and damage things when trying to remove the bolts. Now here are the nuts that you need to remove from the pivot bolts. Pretty easy to access actually. And here is the nut and bolt combination for the ball joint. And it takes a 22 millimeter. For most of the other nuts and bolt combinations, it is 19 millimeter for this process. So 22 and then a 19 with a few different size options such as wrenches and breaker bars, and you should be good to go to do this job without too much difficulty. Now I found using just a straight 19 mil socket, you can fairly easily access one of the nuts on the upper control arm, and then to get at the other one with a breaker bar, I used a 6-inch extension. So with that 6-inch extension on with the breaker bar, you could reach in around that cross member, which I believe is holding up the gas tank. Didn't really take a good look at it, but that is how I got in at those. Pretty straightforward, actually. So now I'm going to go to the ball joint and I'm going to use the impact to get that nut off. It wasn't too difficult to get off. In fact, the hardest part was actually separating the ball joint for this job. Once I get the nut off the ball joint, I just use the impact to spin the bolt in both directions just to loosen it up so it's a bit easier to remove. I put the nut back on the pinch bolt, and then I take a hammer, give it a few smacks, and hammer it through. Not a whole lot of difficulty in removing the nut and bolt combination for the upper ball joint. I do end up using a screwdriver to smack that bolt all the way through. Now I left the ball joint connected to the steering knuckle, and then I removed these pivot fasteners, and this is a bit of a regret for me, and I changed it on the other side. What you should do is completely separate that ball joint with those pivot fasteners on. So you can see I'm having a bit of a time getting that bolt out, and that's because with the ball joint attached, it puts some sideways pressure on the upper control arm, and it makes these bolts more difficult to get out. On the other side, I completely separate it, and the bolts pretty much fall out. It's also easier to separate the ball joint when it's attached to those pivot fasteners. So don't do it this way. Take that ball joint out completely, and then do the pivot bolts. So again, you can see I'm using a hammer and a crowbar to smack that bolt out, and it's almost entirely because there's a bit of sideways pressure on the upper control arm when the ball joint is still attached. And you could also see now that I'm working it with this crowbar, everything's a bit floppy because those pivot fasteners are out and the whole upper control arm could bounce around a bit. So anyway, I do go get a pickle fork and I smack that thing a few times, and that's how I get the ball joint out of the steering knuckle. Now to get the new control arm in, super simple. Obviously you just put it in place and then put the pivot fastener bolts in the same orientation that they were before, and then put on the new nuts. I feel that I could have reused the bolts. However, the Hayden's manual I have on this says not to reuse the nuts, so I would definitely get new nuts, but perhaps I could have actually reused the bolts. There are also rubber grommets that come with the upper control arms that get put in place, but I didn't show myself putting those on. Now to align the ball joint, I used a jack under the spring, and that'll help push everything upwards and towards the front of the vehicle. Once that was in, I was able to move things around a little bit to get that ball joint actually to go in place on the steering knuckle, and then to drive it all the way home, I used a rubberized dead blow mallet, and a few taps on that brought it right down into place. I did get another jack under there to help raise everything up and lift it to normal ride height. I found if you lift under the spring, it'll push the steering knuckle forward, and if you just lift straight up under the axle, it'll lift things up straight. So just something to keep in mind. Now I do slide the pinch bolt in, put the nut on, and I torque the nut on the ball joint pinch bolt down to 58 foot-pounds. And for the two upper pivot fasteners, again using the torque wrench, I'm going to torque those down to 94 foot-pounds. So I use the exact same combination of a single socket on the rear and a single socket with an extension on the other nut for the pivot bolts. I do use a little bit of this rust proofing. I am going to start stocking a few cans of this rust check, and that way every time I remove things from my vehicle, I can add a little bit of rust check to the mix. Now going to the other side, once again, I take the 22 mil on the impact and I remove the nut from the pinch bolt. That is not an issue. I found the bolt on this one was a little bit stiffer, but I did the exact same thing as on the other side. I just went forward and backward on the bolt until I got it moving, and that makes it a little bit easier to knock that pinch bolt back out. And once again, I used a mallet to get that pinch bolt moving, and once it started moving, I used a screwdriver to knock it all the way out. Now here's where I do things a little bit differently on this side, and as mentioned, I did find it to be much easier. I am going to remove this ball joint completely, and to do so I'm using two different ball joint pickle forks. Overall, it is a little bit difficult. Those are very tight, and you need to be careful when you're using the hammer that you don't put too much pressure on the brake calipers, or any pressure at all for that matter. So I just worked these two pickle forks for a while, smashing one in, smash the other one in. Slowly but surely the ball joint separates. You see it pulled out there. What I actually do is I smack it back down, and that drives the grease with it, and then the ball joint pops out very easily. Now you can see the upper control arm is in the air, and once again I'm going to use the 19 mil on a breaker bar to remove those nuts. So with the nut out, you can see how easily that bolt actually slides out. So again, I can't recommend enough, get the ball joint out first, just because it's so much easier that way. Not just to separate the ball joint, but also to get those bolts out. And that would definitely increase your likelihood of being able to reuse those bolts. According to my Haynes manual, like I said, the nuts are not supposed to be reused. I did use the same combination of sockets and extensions to get the passenger side nuts off as I did the driver's side. On the rearward nut, I just used the socket, and then on the forward nut, I used the socket with the 6-inch extension. And there's that nut removed, and again, you can see just how easily that bolt came out. I didn't need to hit it with a crowbar or a screwdriver or anything. So I feel that I've probably overstated this, but definitely remove that ball joint first. And you can see how easily that upper control arm pulls out once everything is disconnected. So I didn't really show it on the other side, but there is a rubber grommet that comes with the upper control arm, so I put those on. And now I'll take the bolts and put the bolts back through the upper control arms in the exact same orientation they were removed. Once the bolts are in place, I'll take the nuts, and I'm just going to put the nuts on loosely by hand so that the upper control arm is moving in its approximate correct axes when I'm putting everything back together. I'm going to take the jack, put it under the spring, and lift the spring up. And just like the other side, when you're lifting up on the spring, I found that moved the steering knuckle forward towards the front of the vehicle. And then when you lift up on the axle with the other jack, it's going to move everything straight up. And eventually I'm going to have everything lined up to ride height. Just like on the other side, I used a piece of chalk to mark out normal ride height before I jacked up the vehicle. I do use the dead blow to knock the ball joint into place, and then I insert the pinch bolt for the ball joint and torque it down to, once again, 58 foot-pounds. Now, before torquing down the control arm pivot fasteners, I'll do a double check and make sure that we're at about approximate ride height. You can see right there the chalk marks that I put on this in two different locations. They look about right. So I'm going to take that 19 mil on a torque wrench once again, and I'm going to torque those down to 94 foot-pounds, just like on the other side. I find the nut that's facing towards the spring is a little bit tougher to torque down. You just don't have too much room to work between the frame of the vehicle and the top of that rotor, but it is possible you can get a couple clicks on the ratchet and get it torqued down to that 94 foot-pounds reliably. It's just a little bit more difficult to do. So now I'll take that jack, get it out of there, put it back under the vehicle so I can put that tire back on. And before I put everything back together, I'm just going to use this rust check spray and start using this every time I take things off vehicles, because quite frankly, since I do take my vehicles apart so often, it's probably handy just to have some of this on hand and spray things down whenever I'm working on it, just to keep that rust at bay. Anyway, I found this to be a pretty easy job and didn't actually require that many tools. Thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.